Welcome back to DHRME.
Today we're reviewing the Sony MDR-1000X, and it's going to be a special edition.
I'm going to shave my head.
What?
We have a special guest. We have with us the founder of RDK Guitars Europe, true audiophile and a good friend of mine, Andrew Cristanto.
Audiophile.
So Andrew, you're here as our audiophile. Let's get started. How did you go about testing these pair of headphones?
So I'm testing this one with two methods, wired and wireless of course. With wired I'm using this one, Sony ZX2, and for the wireless I'm using my iPhone and of course the Bluetooth of this one.
What's your initial impression?
So I listen a lot of guitar stuff of course, like you see there. That's the RDK, that's my own brand. Well, I think it's a good headphones, it's very neutral, but it changes a lot with the source. So the Sony fits really well for, I would call it a reference headphones.
Okay.
It's very flat, but because of the flatness, it becomes really dull when you don't drive it with the proper source. With this one, Sony ZX2, which is a very, very good source, then this one really shines. Talking about wireless, that's another different level. This one is pretty bad, but the bass becomes very flat and it's not a fun headphones.
Right.
The speaker is way too difficult to drive with the wireless driver that they put here. I don't know why Sony is putting such a speaker in the mainstream headphones.
So Andrew, I'm not an audiophile, nowhere close to it, but if I were to get these pair, I would use them wireless with my smartphone, which is an iPhone. What would you recommend for me?
Well, for you I won't recommend this one because I think for general public, if you drive it with Bluetooth, it becomes dull. So that's the conclusion of this headphones. I love it with the wire and a good source.
Audiophile.
So those were the audiophile details from Andrew. So Kevin, it's on to the
Features. So I'm sure these headphones are, feature packed. What really stands out for you?
Well, what I really like is the right ear cup. What this is basically a touch sensitive pad. You can use it to change volume, you can use it to skip tracks, play pause, call, hang up, the whole shebang. There are no buttons, it's just a touchpad. It also works with gloves, which is really convenient in the winters. Another really cool feature is, say you're just hanging out in the wilderness, minding your own business, listening to music, and a friend or somebody comes along. If you have hair like mine, it's really hard to yank those headphones off, put them back again, and still look decent. So what you could do is just put your right hand over the right ear cup. What that does is it pauses the music, noise cancellation goes off, and you can have a small conversation with the person. And the moment you take the right hand off, you're back to your music and you're happy.
Yeah, I'd keep that conversation short though. It's quite the workout if you have to keep your hand up there the entire time.
I don't have long conversations with human beings.
That's true. Talking about the environment, or the sounds from the environment, these headphones have noise cancelling functionality. Tell me how they fare.
I haven't compared them with other noise cancelling headphones. We'll link a couple of videos that compare these with the Bose QC35, which are considered the best in the business. And these rank very favorably compared to those. However, what these have over and above the Bose are a couple of features. Number one, you can switch noise cancelling completely off, which you can't with the QC35. They stay on all the time. Number two, they have a couple of nice modes. So they have something called an ambient voice mode, which means it blocks everything except voices.
Suppose you're at work and you want to listen to some music, but you don't want to be totally oblivious to your team members or to the people sitting around you, and come across as ignoring them, and this way you can continue listening to your music and still hear if they're calling your name.
Another mode they have is ambient mode normal, and what this means is your noise cancelling is on, but the sounds from the outside world are also being let through at a lower volume.
So this feature would be especially useful at the airports or train stations because you just want to listen to your music but not miss out on announcements and miss your flight or your train.
And if you're crossing the street, you don't want to be run over by a bus, so you could avoid death using this feature.
Yeah, stay safe, guys. So those are features that stood out in a positive way for you.
Yeah.
What stood out in a negative way?
Well, this is also a headset, so you're supposed to be able to make calls using this. It has a built-in mic. Unfortunately, I found that the volume from this built-in mic was not enough, so whenever I was on calls, I died. The person on the other side could hardly hear me. It is also the case if I use voice to text, Google Voice, the words were almost never recognized. That's really disappointing as the one negative point about this headset.
Well, we saw that your struggle with your hair and cables was pretty real. How did wireless headphones work out for you?
So let me just say one thing. These are hands down the most comfortable pair of headphones I've ever tried. As you know, I've used the V-Mode XS before this. I've used these 4 hours straight without any ear fatigue, which is phenomenal. It cups over my ears perfectly. They're light, they don't clamp on too tight, they're really comfortable.
You could have just gotten rid of your hair. Ever thought of that?
That makes sense.
So we went from the inside to the outside. We started with software and hardware, and we went to comfort. Now let's go real superficial and judge its beauty. What do you think of the looks?
I like this color, I like the champagne gold. Don't you think it really goes well with my jacket?
Yeah, and man purse. So here are some mug shots of the headphones on different types of heads.
This is an Indian head.
This is an Indian head with hair.
This is an Indian head without head. This is an Asian head with long hair.
All right, Ron, let's wrap this up. Would you recommend the Sony MDR-1000X to our viewers?
Okay, we've spoken about a lot of the points, good and the bad, for these headphones. I'll refrain from giving a conclusion right now, but be sure to check out our comparison video with the Bose and Wilkins P7. I think that will give you a very good picture of what we're talking about with these headphones and those. I've test driven both of them for a while. I think that's going to be very interesting if you're considering either of these headphones.
So stay subscribed and don't forget to turn on notifications.
Share this video if you think it could help somebody. And if you like it by hitting the thumbs up button down below. And give us a thumbs up if you like this down below.
If you like this stuff.
Oh no!
I hope they watch the video and upload it.